Is awarding its highest environmental prize. The United States is rolling back environmental regulations despite being the world's second largest emitter. Let's talk about the potential President Trump effect with Tyson Slocum. He's the Energy Program Director for the advocacy group Public Citizen. So before we get to Trump, I want to ask you about this UN Environment Assembly, the goals and the theme, tackling pollution. What do you make of it so far?
Well, it's pretty sweeping in its aspirations. There was a preliminary agreement on plastic pollution, particularly marine plastic pollution, where the United States apparently fought to reduce the effectiveness of that agreement. So right now it's just principles that creating a task force for some countries to work together towards a solution. So there was clear evidence of where the United States was interfering with stronger progress on marine plastic pollution, which is a huge issue. You know, you've got the Pacific garbage vortex in the middle of the Pacific Ocean that's mostly fueled by plastic debris. And so figuring out a way to hold countries accountable for their plastic pollution is going to be very important going forward. And clearly the United States at this Nairobi conference played a role in limiting the effectiveness of that agreement.
Well, I want to ask you about that, especially with President Donald Trump in office. There's been a lot of momentum worldwide post-Paris Climate Accord, but you know, with Trump, there's still some back and forth whether he actually pulls out of the Paris Agreement. Where do you see U.S. policy at the moment? How would you describe it?
Well, just the fact that Trump has introduced all this uncertainty, you know, publicly saying he wanted to pull out, even though we technically can't for another couple of years. The fact is that what Trump has effectively done is removed U.S. leadership from these international dialogues and exchanges. And that's a huge loss. You really need to have countries like the United States playing a leading role, pushing for aggressive multilateral action. And so with Trump willing to have the United States be on the sidelines, that forces other countries to try to step into the void. But at the end of the day, without active cooperation in the United States, the ability of the rest of the world to come together to lead on these issues is limited.
And even domestically, the U.S. president made news this week with his recent move in the U.S. state of Utah, shrinking two massive national monuments. Explain for our international audience, what message does that send?
Well, I think Trump is really fixated on just trying to undo and reverse as many Obama-era initiatives as possible, regardless of the policy merits. In his speech where he seeks to undo this monument designation for this area in Utah, Trump misstated facts. He said now we'll be able to, you know, do hunting and other recreation on this land. There were actually limited restrictions on that when it's a monument designation. So it seemed like Trump didn't have facts straight on exactly what a monument designation does. But what Trump's move clearly will do is open up opportunities for extractive industries, mining and oil and gas drilling in these very sensitive areas in Utah. You also saw in September, Trump's Secretary of Energy, Rick Perry, unveil a sweeping regulatory change for U.S. electric power markets that would provide billions of dollars a year in subsidies to coal-fired power plants and nuclear power plants that are struggling in wholesale markets because of cheap natural gas and renewables. So most independent analyses show that this Trump administration wholesale power market plan would prolong the life of dozens of coal-fired power plants, resulting in thousands of more premature deaths due to asthma and other issues from particulates from coal pollution. So when you look at the tax package that really was spearheaded by Trump, that Congress currently is deliberating, it significantly slashes tax breaks for the renewable energy industry and provides brand new expensive tax breaks for the oil and gas industry. So on issue after issue, the Trump administration is moving to promote as much as possible the oil, gas, and coal industries at the expense of renewables, when the rest of the world recognizes that the future of our energy system is, in fact, in renewable energy.
Tyson Slocum, thank you so much for your insight. We always appreciate you seeing you.
My pleasure.